Developing world. India also claims that much work needs to be done for convergence. CNBC's Steve Sedgwick is in Paris. He's been tracking the action. He spoke to the General Secretary of the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, or the OECD, which is a grouping of all developed nations. Here's what he had to say.
Regen PowerTech presents Climate Business.
There's a lot of progress. I think there's been a lot of cleansing. Now we're really down to the nitty-gritty, which is going to be the defining of the ambition, the resetting mechanism, over the time, the measuring, the verification, the reporting system, and obviously the finance. It's going to be very critical. So these issues are coming back, and they are the ones that were not only a lot of square brackets, but they are the really seriously both contentious and meaningful issues. We were very scrupulous, extremely rigorous, and so severe that the developed country was saying, for heaven's sake, OECD, there's a lot more money than you're saying. And developing countries, of course, are saying, you're being too generous. So we must be right in the middle. We were very careful. We put our conclusion, 62 billion so far that we have identified, and we still have 5 years to go. So good shot at the 100 billion at the end of the period 2020. However, the question is very, fairly straightforward. The front page, 62 billion, and 59 pages of our report explaining how we did it. Yeah. So this is why what we would expect is if anybody is in disagreement, they would tell us where and how, rather than simply say, well, it's not the result I expected, which is something different.
Also, obviously, the clock is ticking in Paris, but is there any possibility of a deal inside? Bahar Dutt reports on the hectic parleys and what India's position is.
Many are saying that the elephant is still in the room, as is being said. The controversial bits are still in the text. In the first version, it was said that 1.5 degrees and 2 degrees. Both of these were admitted as ambitious goals, but there was no roadmap on how this was going to be achieved. The second text, the Environment Minister, Mr. Javadekar, told us today, he is more optimistic that it will incorporate India's needs. There's been a lot of discussion between India and US. We know that President Obama 2 days ago did make a call to Prime Minister Modi. What the outcomes were of those talks, we don't know yet. What we do know is John Kerry has been having repeated discussions. There was a one-hour meeting today with the Environment Minister. How all this translates into India's concerns being met still remains to be seen. From Paris, COP21, this is Bahar Dutt.
Bahar Dutt, they're reporting from Paris on negotiations down to the wire at COP21. A check of all the